Welcome back to Dr. SuperCoach. In this video, I'll be discussing the captain's selections for the upcoming round for the last time this season. Coming right up. What's up guys, it's JB from Dr. SuperCoach, and if this is your first appointment here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming updates. We do have a couple of videos scheduled to happen once the season of SuperCoach has finished, so obviously the captains videos will be slowing down or stopping entirely. I don't think we need captains for finals, and a couple of other left field videos will come out, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of those. Now we do have captains to run through today. Now I think this is going to be probably the most straightforward captains video that I've done of the season. So we're going to start off with Essendon versus Collingwood. Not a lot of captain selections in this one. So I think Collingwood had the first game of the week last week, and although I thought Brisbane were a good chance to win, it didn't matter. I didn't have any VC selections for that one, and it's the same this week. I don't really expect Essendon to win, mind you, but I don't have very high hopes for the vice captain options in this game. Zach Merritt for starters, not a great option in my opinion. I know he's good. He's been scoring pretty consistently this season. However, I don't have him as a potential 120 plus in this matchup, and there's every chance he doesn't even turn up, as Collingwood have shown a pretty good, strong defense in their midfield and in terms of giving up SuperCoach scores. I would say same goes for Parish quite naturally. So in this game, there's really not anyone I consider as a strong option. On to the Saturday. This is going to be the quickest captains video ever. We've got the potential tag on either Sarong or Brayshaw. No clue who it's going to be. You can argue to the cows come home who's more damaging. Probably Sarong. Who's been tagged more often in their career? Definitely Brayshaw. Whether they would be okay with the tag, whether there's even a tag at all, or whether that's just saved for the really super damaging players like I would say Bontempelli, but he wasn't actually tagged. So it's interesting. I don't quite know who they go to shut down. Luke Ryan's not like a destructive half-backman who's going to run off and score big points. And if you do remember this fixture earlier in the season, Fremantle were able to shut down James Sicily with ease. In this one, I think they held him to about a 63 in this matchup. So I would expect similar to happen again in this one. Not holding him down that low, but just below the 120 mark. I know he's in good form, but not one I'm looking to captain. Now, this would have a great captaincy shout with LDU in it. However, it is unlikely that he plays, and if he does, you can't expect him to be at 100% fitness. North Melbourne are going to be looking to lose this game at all costs to get that number one pick. I know it sounds weird, but tanking does exist. From the Gold Coast side of things, I don't have anyone that I particularly like for their captain stocks either. We're going to move swiftly past this one, although those are two midfielders I generally like to target against each other, and with no strong options in there, I don't think they have captainable picks this week. Brisbane versus St Kilda. St Kilda quite well at shutting down opposition players who generally do well. I think they're the ones that give up the big defender scores, but not the big midfield scores, which directly applies to both Dunkley and Neil. I wouldn't be shocked if one or both went quite well in this one, especially at the Gabba last game of the year to lock up a top 2 spot. Would not surprise me at all. But the facts are, the statistics are that they do get St Kilda midfield don't let up big scores. So if we can just go in with that expectation, it'll make our jobs a lot easier in terms of vice captain and captain. I don't think I'm going to go with anyone from that match. In fact, I'm certain that I'm not. So we're going to move on to the most vice captainable games of the entire round. We have here Tim English versus a ruckless Geelong team, which I won't be surprised if he doesn't score amazing. It's always these games where you have these high expectations on these guys. No ruck for Geelong, or this guy should do this, or no defense, or no whatever it might be, or this person historically scores well and they've been letting up big scores. Somehow these types of matchups always find a way to result in average scores for those players. Whenever we have high expectations, it seems the opposite comes to fruition. Geelong are never an easy matchup at GMHBA, but if you are an English owner, I don't think you can pass up this vice captain opportunity. Now, if you're a Bontempelli owner, and you recall, Geelong was one of the midfielders that I would target in my vice captaincy or captains videos, just because they're a little bit weaker through there. Times haven't really changed, and especially they're going into this week with a lot of injuries. I think Bulldogs probably get a comfortable victory here at GMHBA, even though I just said Geelong aren't always easy to handle over there. But I think the order of the captaincy on this Saturday night is quite simple. I think Tim English is number 1. I think Rory Laird is number 2. And then I think if you have neither of those guys, somehow you're probably looking at Bontempelli before you're looking at Jordan Dawson. So English 1, Laird 2, and then Bont 3. So I hope you have one of those 3. Otherwise, I don't know who you've been captaining all season long. Maybe that's worth a comment down below if you have none of those 3 guys and you're still getting good captaincy scores. Look, Tom Stewart is in this. Not really interested over the other options. Not interested. I mean, if you've got Tex Walker for some reason, I can completely understand a VC. They're probably going to feed him for a Coleman now that their finals hopes are over. By the way, in such unlucky fashion that happened. And I do expect Tex Walker to score well, but besides that, I think I'm looking at Tim English or Rory Laird for that one as the VC. Quite simply, the only issue is the captaincy options aren't incredible unless you have Zach Butters. I think Zach Butters, very, very easy captain selection against Richmond, who he loves to play typically anyway. They don't play a tagger at Adelaide Oval. Final game of the year, playing for everything, playing for top 2. At this point, it will be decided, I guess, but playing still for the highest possible position they can finish on the ladder. So they'll be treating this one like a first final. Butters typically goes well against Richmond, typically goes well at Adelaide Oval. He will be my captain selection. I can't see him scoring below 120. So I think that's quite an easy one to lock in if you own him. If you do not own him, I don't even hate Connor Rozee. I wouldn't go with Tim Taranto. I don't mind Petrarca at all in another game where Melbourne are going to come out trying to win, obviously, against Sydney Swans, who are another one of my targets. And then even the Carlton versus GWS game, I don't think there's a captainable Carlton option. But GWS, I think there are probably numerous options. If you still own Briggs, or if you do own Tom Green, I think either of those guys are captainable this week. But I think the Zach Butters or Christian Petrarca options would be my 2 go-tos if your VC fails, which I assume it will not. There's also a 45-minute gap here. You're going to see over a quarter and a half of Tim English. I wonder if that's enough for people who are considering Rory Laird there. So that's also interesting. It's probably not enough. It's just over. It's probably just starting into the second quarter before the next game starts. But I mean, I suppose if there's like an injury or something like that really early in the game, then you can pull the trigger on Laird before that. But we're talking very fine margins, something that is unlikely to happen. So for my team personally, I'm going Laird into Butters, as I don't have Tim English in my side. If I didn't have Butters, then I would be going Laird into Petrarca if I owned, or Laird into Briggs, which I'm pretty confident with as well. So look, I think there are good options here. Even Golden at the SCG against Melbourne, I think is a perfectly fine option for captaincy. I don't think we're going to have a failing VC. I'm pretty confident on that unless something crazy happens. I think all 3 of those options are very, very, very good. And then into one of the options on this day, if you don't have Butters, you're probably a little bit shaky about one of the options, but just find someone you like, back them in, and I'm pretty confident you won't need them anyway. Okay, that's going to do it for the final captaincy podcast of the season. Now, if you do have any questions, please do comment down below. If you have any alternate captains, I always forget 1, 2, even 3 captains each week, I promise you. I always have people commenting, what about this guy, what about this guy? And I'm just like, actually that is a really good option. I didn't think about it. So please do comment down below if I missed anyone again this week. I actually think I was quite thorough. I think this week's quite straightforward anyway. Thank you very much for watching. Check out the merch. If you do want to support us, I'm wearing some right now. It's incredible. Obviously, you can support us through our Patreon as well. And I want to quickly shout out 56EB and 56TN, who are doing their own own podcasts this week. Very excited to see what comes from that as well. Good luck, guys. This is how you do a podcast. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll catch you next season for some more Captains videos.